Hello and welcome. We are back on the Wednesday thrust here today. Week 3 is getting off to a tremendous start. And today we got some basketball and baseball content. This is our basketball video. If you are a baseball fan, we do got 3 free picks for you today. Can see it at our other video here on the Wednesday thrust. Let's dive into what an amazing comeback that was in the fourth quarter. The New York Knicks seemed like they were just done. I just stepped away from the bar. I'm like, okay, that's it. The Cavs take the lead. They're winning all these big road games. And then I'm like, oh my God, overtime. What? Come on. That was nuts. That was absolutely nuts. What a comeback. And I look at these stats, I'm like, okay, I'm not crazy for the fact that I just left the bar thinking, okay, this is over. Cleveland takes a 1-0 lead. Epic comeback. Saw the highlight video. Just incredible. Absolutely incredible. With that being said, just to look at the fact that only 2 teams in the postseason in the last 30 years came back from down 22 or more points in the fourth. Amazing turnaround in Madison Square Garden yesterday. We look at our picks from this matchup. Start off with Mikal Bridges. He was able to get 5 rebounds, 1 assist. We got that narrowly. Donovan Mitchell, he had a great start to the game. He got on fire. 16 points, 3 assists, 1 rebound in that first half. Evan Mobley was all over the boards. I knew it from the beginning. He was 5 rebounds early in the second quarter. He ended up with 14 on the game. That obviously included the overtime. But we look at the entire box score. We look at what was an absolutely incredible comeback from the New York Knicks, but also what was an overtime, keeping the momentum, crushing it. Cleveland had absolutely no answer. I mean, it just seemed like from the moment they forced overtime, Cleveland just looked devastated. New York shot 47.7% from the field, but not so great from 3. And for the Cleveland Cavaliers, it just seems like it was the opposite story. Now, they didn't shoot much better from 3, but they didn't shoot great from the field either. And you can also look in the free throws too. Yeah, it wasn't great either, but you can see a couple more attempts from Cleveland. They took more 2-pointers, and they were better at the 2-pointers. And that was obviously evident, but still, they couldn't hit clutch shots at the end. They did get 11 offensive rebounds. Great to see from the glass right there. 23 assists. I mean, they definitely showed a lot of positives, obviously, taking the big lead in that game 1, but they just couldn't put it away. But Donovan Mitchell was the guy carrying them, 12 for 23 from the field, but he was off to even more torrid start, and that was something we didn't expect for him on the road in his first conference finals in the West or the East, dating back to his days in Utah. James Harden, he was all right, not so great, 5 for 16 from the field. Yeah, wasn't a great performance from him. Evan Mobley wasn't that great offensively, but wonderful on the boards with 14 rebounds. But the same theme from the Detroit series. They're not very deep on the bench. They only got 3 guys off the bench for Cleveland. But it did work against Detroit. It did work against Toronto. They knocked down the number 1 seed. Maybe they could survive with an 8-man rotation. And of course, they took a big lead in this game. Going to the New York Knicks box score. A lot of great performances for the New York Knicks. Jalen Brunson, 15 for 29, 38 points. He was a consistent shooter throughout the game. Karl Anthony Towns with 13 rebounds for them offensive. Great work from Karl Anthony Towns. And same thing with the New York Knicks. Not so much production from this bench. They had about 9 guys that they played for more than 14 minutes. And of course a little bit from Jose Alvarado as well. Someone who had a much bigger role when he was with New Orleans, and there just seems to be no room for him. I mean, he's a high-effort player, but just doesn't really seem to get much big minutes here in the postseason. With that being said, let's get on to the Western Conference Finals. We're coming off a double overtime game. It was a big one. But before we do that, quick reminder that we are on X and Threads. You can see our handles, Rocket Launch SP for X, Rocket Launch Sports Picks for Threads. That's where you can get your written form. You might not always have the time to hear me speak in these videos, But you do get time for text analyses. Takes 30 seconds to go through, gives you the picks, gives you the rundown of what is being talked about in this video. Obviously, you don't hear my energy, you don't hear me speaking live, but sometimes you just don't have time for that. So your alternative is going to be on X and Threads. That link is in the description to not just that, but all of our socials, including Instagram, which we are going to have coming up. Some content on there where you can see my face. We also got our picks on Winible. Our code TAKEOFF is for 20 free days. That is through the end of Sunday. That link is also in the description. We do have 2 paid picks here today, alongside the 3 that I'm going to talk about here in this video. With that being said, you can get my paid picks not just this week, but the next couple weeks as well, with the code TAKEOFF when you check out. On to the Western Conference. That is a misprint right there. It should be WCF Game 2 picks. The Western Conference Finals. We got Jalen Williams. He has been a strong player for Oklahoma City. He's stepping up, but we expect him to regress towards the mean in this game and go less than 22.5 points and rebounds. I will break that down. Chet Holmgren over 1.5 blocks. He has had to be imposing against Victor Wembanyama, and with the game that he had in Game 1, they're going to need him to really put some effort in on the glass. We'll break that down as well. Dylan Harper, someone who stepped up when De'Aaron Fox got hurt, 47 minutes. We expect more of the same, especially if De'Aaron Fox is going to play. He's probably going to be quite limited in the amount of time he will play. He should be going over, or that is Dylan Harper, should be going over 24.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Let's get to it. Let's get to Jalen Williams, under 22.5 points and rebounds combined. That has happened in 5 of the last 10 games. That actually dates back to the Suns series. Remember, they got through the Lakers in 4 games. They got through the Suns in 4 games. So really, that 10th game is actually the last game of the regular season. But if you put more of the end of the regular season in the last 20 games, he has also done that in 50% or 10 of the last 20. And also you're looking at the head-to-head against San Antonio. Remember that before this series, there were 4 scheduled games, and then there was the NBA Cup final. So that was an unscheduled game that the Thunder and the Spurs played against each other. Actually, excuse me, it was the semifinal. That was the unscheduled game. It was the semifinal. It was the Knicks and the Spurs in the final, with the Knicks won in that NBA Cup. But enough of that. Jalen Williams has gone 3 for 8 in this statistic, under 22.5 points and rebounds. But then you go to what he's done throughout this entire regular season and playoffs, it's happening under 47%. But the biggest thing we're looking at is the matchup and the recent trend. Looking at the fact that San Antonio has allowed overall to shooting guards the 7 least points per game, and also kind of in the middle of the pack, 18th in the rebounds department. But overall, you got to look at a little bit of a bigger picture. He only played 7 games after the All-Star break in the regular season, and his stats were not as great as before the All-Star break. You can see less minutes, few less points, and slightly lower rebounding average. So he has stepped up in this playoffs, but do expect that he's going to regress a little closer to the mean. Let's go to Chet Holmgren. Chet Holmgren has been blocking shots quite well. We expect him to go over 1.5 blocks, which he has done in 7 of the last 10 games. Plenty of that in the Phoenix Suns series. Plenty of that in the Lakers series. Well, 2 of the 4 games in the Lakers series, that is. With that, he has gone over 1.5 blocks in 60% or 12 of his last 20 games. And in the San Antonio season series, he has done it 50% of the time. That included the game 1. That included the last game of the regular season, where he had 3 blocks as well. But the consistency has been absolutely staggering for Chet Holmgren. In almost every matchup, home and away, you can see in the regular season and postseason, he's kept that almost 2 blocks a game average. And you can also see in the pre versus post All-Star break, very consistent averages. He's got similar minutes, relatively similar points, 1 less point per game, but in blocks, same thing, 1.9 before the All-Star break, 1.8 after the All-Star break. He's actually doing better with blocks on the road as well. 1.8 at home, 2.0 on the road. But very, very, very consistent in his blocking and really his overall stats throughout the regular season, postseason, home, away, before and after the All-Star break, all that. Last but not least, Dylan Harper. Dylan Harper is a rookie. He was the second overall pick in this past draft, and here he is getting ready to step up, and he really stepped up in that game 1 to help San Antonio win. De'Aaron Fox will probably be limited, if not out of game 2. They're going to need him to continue to step up. He has done it in 4 of his last 10 games. He has done it in 5 of his last 20. So again, the recent trend, but especially the previous trend, doesn't show exactly great things for this stat. But you can see an accelerated recent trend even before De'Aaron Fox got hurt. But in that game 1, Dylan Harper really took off. You can see in the regular season games against Oklahoma City, he's been kept relatively at bay, but he stepped up when he needed to in that game 1. We expect more of the same here in that game 2. Looking at same thing we talked about, 47 minutes, game 1 without De'Aaron Fox. That is the real storyline. He is getting more minutes that De'Aaron Fox would typically take on. But we look at his stats in the regular season, 11.8, 3.9, and 3.4. But he did even better in the last series. He scored 3 more points. Yes, he had less assists, but his rebounding went up to 6.2. So he, overall, that combined average in that Wolves series, if you're to add the numbers together, comes out to 23.5, which again, isn't where 24.5 is. But keep in mind, we have a situation that wasn't there in that Wolves series that has accelerated his production. He's getting that experience here in the playoffs. He has been an excellent player for the San Antonio Spurs. We got to expect more of the same wonderful production from Dylan Harper. That is a wrap on the day. We are excited for this game 2. Keep in mind, quick reminder, we are affiliated with Betr. Our Betr affiliation code, ROCKETUPSB, will get you 2 sweat-free tokens on any of these picks or any picks that you would like to put in, and up to $200 back on those tokens. That also includes a free pick as well. Those benefits come with the code ROCKETUPSB on Betr. That link is in the description. You're going to have to download the app. You're going to have to sign up, deposit a minimum of $10 to get all of these benefits, including those sweat-free tokens. That is it. Enjoy the game 2 here in Oklahoma City. It is bound to be incredible. I mean, tough act to follow with how great the game 1 was, but grab your popcorn, keep watching. We got exciting basketball here in the West and the Eastern Conference Finals.